CPA, CGMA, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things in taxes: short term rental loopholes. It's an amazing tax strategy. It's a little bit specific use, specific rules, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to dive in, um, and you'll see how we use this strategy when we work with our clients. So, first things first, what is a short-term rental? So, for the IRS to consider your rental short term, it's got to be an average length of stay 7 days or less. So, if you look at a property that you're renting out and you look at everybody's stay across the whole year, and you average out how many days they're staying, it's got to be less than 7, right? So if you're like, well, I live in a seasonal area, so in the off season, I've got somebody who's there for a few months, and then on the on season, maybe I have a week long stay, I have weekend stays. You're probably not going to average out to overall being 7 days or less. So we're really looking at like those Airbnb, VRBO style short stays, right? A week or less is what we're looking for. Now, the thing that's tricky in real estate is by default, rental income is considered passive for most people. And just keep in mind all these things I'm going to talk about, there's asterisks, right? While it's not passive if you're a real estate professional, we're not talking about real estate professionals, right? For your average taxpayer who is not a real estate professional, by default, rental income is going to be considered passive, which means that it's not going to offset things like W 2 income, because W 2 income, not passive, rental income, passive. Well, here's where this loophole comes in. So if you've got a short term rental, remember, average length of stay 7 days or less, and you can qualify to have material participation in this rental property. We'll get back to that in a second. You can actually turn what's normally passive income into non-passive income. Now, I said a phrase in there, material participation, right? This is a specific definition by the IRS, and it's actually, there is a test. You can look it up from the IRS. It's a 7-part test that you need to meet one of them. The one test that we generally look at for clients is if you spend 100 hours and more than anyone else on the property. 100 hours and more than anyone else. So, if we can combine these two things, and if you've ever had an Airbnb property, you will discover that you can very quickly hit that 100 hours. It does not take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of time, but you have 100 hours and more than anyone else, and 7 nights or less average length of stay, you can qualify for what we lovingly refer to as the short-term rental loophole. So if you have a short-term rental, you hit that loophole. What does that mean? Well, if you are generating a loss for tax purposes, right? If you have a tax loss, that loss can offset other types of income, including W 2. So, who likes this? My clients that are highly paid on W 2s, the doctors, the lawyers, the software engineers, right? Folks who have successful businesses. All of these types of clients really like this approach because it's the only way you can invest in real estate and use those losses. Because a lot of people are out there saying like, oh, you go buy real estate, you generate losses, blah, blah, blah. Most of the time, most taxpayers cannot claim them. You're not going to get any benefit. And Folks who don't go through the education to learn how this works are really upset with me when I do their taxes and they don't have like a big refund because they didn't do it the right way. They're hitting those passive activity loss rules. It's trapping the real estate losses that they're generating, and they're not able to take advantage of it. Right? So this really specific, again, 7 days or less for the rental, average length of stay 7 days or less, and you're putting in 100 hours and more than anyone else. So this does generally rule out being able to buy an Airbnb and just using a management company, right? Because a lot of times that's gonna blow out your 100 hours and more than anyone else. So you do have to be a little bit careful. It does actually involve your participation. They don't call it material participation for nothing. There's a reason that they have that rule. Now, if you're qualifying and you're getting that short-term rental loophole qualification, the next thing is going to be, how do we maximize that loss? How do we make sure that tax loss on your short-term rental is as big as it possibly can be that year? Well, and the answer to that is usually a cost segregation study, right? So a cost segregation study, real quick, is you take a property and divide it into its component pieces. And those component pieces, when they fall into asset classes that are eligible for bonus depreciation, we're able to take more depreciation in that first year than you otherwise would if you just did a plain old boring normal depreciation. So that's why we recommend combining these two things. So you qualify for the short-term loophole, awesome. Then you go and do a cost segregation study, double awesome. Now you've got a nice big loss, and you can use that to offset your W-2 business income, your kind of regular income. So we really, really love this with our, high earning clients. If they're looking to get into real estate, it's really effective. One other small thing, you do have to be careful with short-term rentals that you don't slip into them becoming really a hotel, right? So think of it as you have a vacation home and you're letting other people stay in your vacation home, right? You're not offering, maid service every day. There's no concierge there to help them plan their trip. It's not like a hotel. It's really, I'm renting out my house. I'm letting people stay there for a short time. So, short-term rental loophole. Do you have questions? I can't imagine that you don't have questions. If you don't have questions, I did a great job. Come see us. We'll help you with your taxes. But it's not the easiest concept to grasp right away. Like I said in the beginning, real estate tax is no joke. It's complicated, right? So it's not for the faint of heart. But if this is something you're looking at and you're thinking about getting into real estate, you're thinking, how do I use the real estate to offset my income? This is a great way to do it. So if you have any questions, drop them below, shoot us a message, schedule a call with my office, and we would love to talk to you and walk you through it. Until next time, we'll see you.